Hi, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to our ninth day of Regenera Travel Summit 2025. Today, we are going to be talking to Dr. Stephanie Nuria Spijker. She's from the Vlerick Business School, and she will be teaching us about or sharing with us about social entrepreneurship and agrotourism. Wow. So we've heard about ecotourism, we've heard about eco living, we've heard about circular economy so far in our summit. And today, Dr. Spiker, you're going to be sharing with us about how research and agro and social entrepreneurship can all come together. So we're going to give you the stage and share with us, and we'll be back with questions after.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Nuria Spijker. I work at the intersection of research and practice with a particular focus on how we can build more resilient and just systems. Over the past decade, I've worked with corporates, startups, local governments, and community initiatives across many contexts, exploring the complex systems dynamics at the heart of sustainability, and more specifically, food and agriculture. So, my perspective is shaped not only by research, but by lived experience, my fieldwork on farms, my own upbringing, and a deep belief in the absolute necessity of regeneration. I'm guided by the conviction that truly sustainable practices must center local people and their knowledge. And to paraphrase the icon Wangari Maathai, education, if it means anything, should not take people away from the land, but instill in them even more respect for it. Educated people are in a position to understand what is being lost, and the future of the planet concerns us all, and all of us should do what we can to protect it. And by education, she meant something deeper than a diploma. It's really a way of seeing the world, of understanding our place in it, and of honoring our duty to each other and to the land. In an age of disinformation and distraction, that kind of understanding has become rare and perhaps even revolutionary in some cases. So today, I want to speak not just as a researcher, but as someone who has worked with my hands in the soil and who deeply believes that the land and its people, both those who stay and those who pass through, can form the backbone of a different and better kind of future. So, to completely go in a different way and think, many years ago, I traded my office and desk back at the University of Leuven, where I did my PhD in Belgium, for the middle of nowhere. Uh, there I was on a small farm in rural Ontario in Canada. I wasn't a total novice. My grandmother had a small farm that I visited when I was growing up. And I love to grow things and to eat fruit right off the trees. But I won't exaggerate my knowledge or skills. I'm mostly a city girl, and all of those were distant memories of warm tropical lands. But now I stepped into the frost of a cold Canadian morning, driven by the loud calls of a rooster, reminding me that neither nature nor farm work waited for my convenience. So instead of a morning chat with my colleagues, I was up before the sun to feed the chickens and pigs, trying to understand what regenerative agriculture really looked like in person. And it was beautiful, not just the place with its rolling green hills and soil too rocky for industrial scale agriculture, but the way the farmers worked with the land, not against it, so that the farm gave back to nature instead of extracting everything it could from it. I learned many things I didn't know before as a child of the city: how to milk a goat, how to repair fences, how to sow and harvest, and even how to run a stall at the farmers market in Ottawa. But mostly, I learned how deeply disconnected I was from the land and its gifts, gifts on which we're all, whether we feel it or not, deeply dependent. That month was one of my first experiences of agrotourism as transformation, not leisure, but learning, not a break from my life, but a re entry into something essential. And all of this quiet, meaningful transformation, was unfolding on the outskirts of a town that was living through economic decline, a place where most residents had already left in search of more promising opportunities elsewhere, and a town overlooked by government investment. And yet, this small seed, this network of farms opening their doors, kept something alive. And so I want to ask something today. What if agrotourism could heal and not harm? What if it could regenerate landscapes, livelihoods, and local cultures, not simply by visiting them, but inviting us to become brief stewards, even if only for a day? And that's what I mean by rooted regeneration. It's a call to fundamentally shift how we think about place, people, and value. And agrotourism, sitting at the intersection of food, land, and culture, may be one of the strongest entry points into that shift. It's also a powerful space for social entrepreneurship and regenerative business innovation, creating livelihoods that honor both the land and the people who care for it. Rooted regeneration, as I call it, begins from the ground up, literally. It means practices anchored in local knowledge, relationships, and cultural memory. It means involving those who know the land, not as workers or performers, but as co creators of value. It stands in contrast to extractive tourism, where visitors take the photo, eat the meal, enjoy the view, and leave behind nothing but a credit card receipt. Instead, rooted regeneration asks, what can grow from this encounter? And more importantly, who gets to define what growth even means? When done well, agrotourism becomes a tool to rebuild rural economies, support food sovereignty, and reconnect people to the systems that feed and sustain them. But it must be designed with intention and with eyes wide open. So I'm going to take you through three cases across continents, yet connected by a common logic of land, labor, and learning. We can start with something many of you might know about woofing, or worldwide opportunities on organic farms, which connects volunteers with farms in exchange for food and shelter. It lowers the barrier between visitor and local, turning travel into hands on learning. I've woofed too in several parts of Europe and North America, and the essence is simple. You work, you learn, you share meals. It's not tourism as escape, but as educational and cultural exchange. I came away with plenty of stories, some good, some difficult, and knowledge I'm deeply grateful for. But there are risks. When volunteers replace paid labor or arrive unprepared, the burden shifts to hosts to manage, accommodate, and absorb the cost. The lesson: immersion only becomes regeneration when there's reciprocity, clear boundaries, and mutual benefit. But how might this look somewhere else? The next example is of Noto Peninsula in Japan. Here, elderly farmers began hosting guests in their homes, offering simple, exquisite meals made from foraged herbs, seasonal vegetables, local fish. The beds are tatami mats. The entertainment is the firewood you help to chop. This is Shunran no Sato, a network of farmhouse inns that isn't just preserving culture, but regenerating it. Hospitality in this case is not just a product, it's a gesture, an extension of self. And it's also economic. Young people are returning to the countryside, abandoned homes are being renovated, biodiversity is protected not by fences, but by use and care. This model works because it centers trust between visitor and host, between local government and community, between generations. But again, we must be cautious. Not every rural community wants to open their homes. Not every tradition should be packaged for consumption, and the line between sharing and performance is delicate. Still, this case shows how place rooted hospitality can become both regenerative and dignified if the people offering it are the ones designing it. And now, for the last model, community supported agriculture, or CSA. Typically, CSA is about locals. You buy a share in a farm, you get a weekly box, and you share in the risk of production. But increasingly, some CSA farms are inviting non member visitors to join harvest days, attend fermentation workshops, learning weekends, youth exchanges, and more. And they're not just regenerating land, they're regenerating governance. Not too far from my own former office at the University of Leuven, I once spent time on such a farm. And the farmer opened my eyes to how agriculture for him was not just a business, but a form of protest against a system that sidelined the basic dignity and livelihood of farmers in favor of expanding the profit margins of large multinationals who control everything from seed to the unrealistically priced and overly plastic packaged supermarket produce we're all very familiar with. Visitors here didn't just buy kale or onions, they bought in emotionally, financially, and relationally. And that kind of buy in matters because it creates something more durable than a transaction. It creates shared stewardship. In a world where so much is instant, impersonal, and packaged, there's something quietly radical about systems that invite people to slow down, get involved, and care. And increasingly, we see a new generation of social entrepreneurs stepping into this space, not just to sell farm stays or workshops, but to redesign how tourism and food intersect in service of community well being. And what this model teaches us is value bundling: food plus knowledge plus trust plus experience, a principle which is at the heart of many successful social enterprises. These aren't just farms with add ons, they are business innovations, showing that you can build financially viable models while centering sustainability and community well being. But again, caution, because scaling this is hard. Hosting people takes time, energy, and liability. Not every farmer wants to become a tourism operator, which is why partnership and a renegotiated governance of place with local NGOs, with co ops, with regional agencies becomes key to regeneration. So, across these diverse stories, what patterns emerge? And before I even go into patterns, let me pause for a moment on language. We often use the word sustainability, but what does it really mean? To sustain something is to keep it going. But what if what we're sustaining is already damaged, extractive, or inequitable? That's why the word regeneration matters. It implies healing, restoring, reimagining, and going beyond less harm towards active renewal. And that mindset shift from sustainability to regeneration is where agrotourism, social entrepreneurship, and community led innovation can really thrive. And now the patterns. One, rootedness matters. Successful models begin with locals, their needs, their knowledge, their leadership. Whether it's a CSA farm in Belgium or a farmhouse in Japan, regeneration begins where people are already embedded, not with external interventions parachuted in. This means we need to shift from designing for communities to designing with them. It's slower, it's more complex, but it's the only way to build something that truly lasts. Number two, experience is not enough. People don't just want to see sustainability, they want to participate in it. But participation without purpose can become performance or worse, pressure. The challenge is designing experiences that invite genuine co creation while being respectful of boundaries, capacity, and context. What are we asking visitors to give, and what are they being given in return? Three, hospitality is political. Who gets to host? Who gets to benefit? Who defines what's authentic? In too many cases, rural and indigenous communities are asked to serve but not to decide. Regenerative agrotourism must confront this by ensuring voice, control, and compensation rest with the people offering their land, their time, and their culture, especially for women who, in many contexts, carry the bulk of agricultural and hospitality labor without formal recognition or pay. Four, partnerships are essential. No single actor can do this alone. Farmers are already at capacity. Many NGOs are underfunded, and businesses often lack contextual knowledge. But together, co creation becomes possible. What we need are bridging institutions, coalitions, cooperatives, innovation hubs that connect intention to infrastructure, that match local wisdom with technical backing, policy scaffolding, and long term support. This is also where social entrepreneurship becomes crucial, creating business models that generate both income and impact rooted in local realities. Business innovation in agrotourism isn't just about clever tech or new services. It's about reimagining value chains to prioritize people and planet alongside profit. Five, small can scale, if designed for resilience. We're not talking about exporting cookie cutter models. We're talking about principles: trust, participation, mutual benefit, and rootedness. These can scale not by replication, but by adaptation. Think of it as biodiversity in business models, with each one evolving in response to its ecosystem, but all contributing to a healthier whole. Most of all, rooted regeneration is not a template, it's a mindset, one that asks harder questions. Who defines value? Who carries the risk? Who gets to shape the future of a place? It's a mindset that prioritizes care over convenience, relationship over reach, and place over performance. Because let's be honest, not everything labeled eco or agro or social is regenerative. Good intentions are not enough. We've seen volunteer tourism gone wrong, where short term guests displace local labor, or where hosts feel pressured to perform poverty or rustic charm for tips. We've seen cultural commodification, where sacred traditions become hashtags and where resilience is just a brand. We've seen burnout, where the emotional labor of hosting becomes too much, especially for women who, in many countries such as Kenya, where I was born and raised, are the main stewards and workers of land. And we've seen funding models that rely on precarity, on unpaid volunteers, on seasonal grants, on thin margins, and goodwill. Regeneration must also mean justice. If we're exhausting the very people doing the regenerating, that's not progress. That's just colonization with better PR. So I leave you with this. Imagine a tourist arriving not just with a camera, but with humility, not to consume the place, but to care for it, even if briefly. Imagine a farm that doesn't just grow food, but grows trust. Imagine a community that doesn't chase scale, but grows strong in place. Imagine that we stopped asking, what do tourists want? And instead asked, what does this place need? And who can we invite to help? This is the right question to channel the potential of tourism, of agrotourism, into financial independence, education, and local development. Rooted regeneration is not a silver bullet. It's messy, it's relational, it's slow. but it's already happening all around the world. And perhaps in the conversations we will have after this one, and to again lean on the words of Wangari Maathai, who was a pioneer of regenerative thinking. A tree has roots in the soil, yet reaches to the sky. It tells us that in order to aspire, we need to be grounded. So the real question today is, what role will you play? Will you fund differently? Will you teach differently? Will you travel differently? Will you build enterprises that serve communities, not just markets? Will you innovate, not just for scale, but for rooted impact? Because this is not someone else's movement, it starts with us. Thank you.
Wow, spectacular. I would say the word that comes to my mind is mind blown. Not to just fill with words of flattery, but I think Dr. Spiker, you presented the information in such a precise. I think anyone, we have been discussing with Vienna that the quality of work that we have had from our presenters truly, for me, if this is a masterclass in redefining the way that we look at the tourism industry. And I
Yes.
think that your presentation today truly contributes in a great way of flipping that switch with the young people that we have coming out. Honduras, in particular, is a country that I've always described as being very green. We have lots of land that has lots of lots of rocks. There's rocks in the territory. So
Mhm,
you have beautiful, beautiful expanses of land, but it's not really being maximized or used properly.
mhm,
So, and you talk of social entrepreneurship a couple of years ago as well.
mhm,
I was trying a social marketing model,
mhm,
trying to get people to come together and say, okay, I will go and teach. If you buy my product and integrate it into schools, I will give my service to prepare the educators. So I
mhm,
was trying to put forward a model of social marketing. And I said, what if private sector comes in? You help me create the game because it costs so much, and I will put the service in helping to train in terms of helping them become bilingual. And
mhm,
then, we would work together. So in a different way, you're talking about agritourism. It just brought back that entire campaign, that entire struggle that I tried
mhm,
to do.
mhm,
And hearing your research,
mhm,
you literally You literally set free a burden upon my mind of, was I doing the right thing? Did I waste my time? To rather, I have been walking courageously in a path that now it is becoming recognized, and
mhm,
your words, it's taking into place what people are doing. I
mhm,
also congratulated Vienna on the vision, and I joined this project because of that. If we don't look at things in a different way, we
mhm,
will not make change. We cannot do the same thing over and over
mhm,
and not see that. So to hear you talk about, oh, the power. There's so many amazing clips from
mhm,
what it is you said
mhm,
that I think can really inspire.
mhm,
Our event has
mhm,
educate, inspire, and connect. So
mhm,
we have been making a call to local government to sit
mhm,
down at a table and speak to individuals with your experience so
mhm,
that they can open the door to their people, and that they don't have to leave, but rather, how do we ask those questions that you asked at the end of it?
mhm,
How will I contribute? What way will I do something
mhm.
different? If I sound like I'm gushing, it's just because you ignited a fire, the purposeful, passionate
Mhm.
educator in me.
Yeah.
Just became excited to see
Mhm,
your work,
mhm,
and it is not easy,
mhm,
but I love the fact that you very clearly separate performance from, from practice. in the
Mhm.
sense that too many times we wish-wash or we color something and we want to call it something else, and then that superficiality breaks down, and
Yes.
then it makes it harder for those who are actually trying to make a real difference, who are
Mhm.
trying to regenerate at the rooted level, at
Mhm.
getting to that part of it. So I appreciate all that you have said. I
Thank
think
you.
that we will definitely do. I think I'm even more committed more than ever now with Vienna to get this to our universities, to have
Mhm.
people see this particular online model of what we've done as
Mhm.
a master class in, oh, even if we slap on and put regenerative thinking, but definitely
Mhm.
there it starts a conversation with government and the people, and even with the entrepreneurial class, it starts a new conversation. And in your presentation is
Mhm.
literally offering them, hey, look at this model. This is a place to begin with. So
Mhm.
thank you very much for sharing your work, your
Mhm.
knowledge, and your experience with us.
You're
Vienna?
welcome.
Yes, no, it was incredible. I loved it. I agree with everything you said and learned a lot too. You went deeper, and I really loved when you said that it's regeneration starts in the community. Like it starts from the community. It's not like you are gonna impose something to the community and then regenerate it. It's
Mhm.
from within, and it's so funny because like that has been something that has been brought up almost I think by every speaker. They
Mhm.
say that we have to work with the community. The ocean cleanup also said it, that they want to work with the community. First they get involved with the community. Nikki also said it from Social in
Mhm.
Guatemala, that first she gets involved with the community. She asks what they need, what they want, if they want, help. If
Mhm.
not, then it's of course she doesn't want something to affect them. So
Mhm.
wow, that was very something that I loved that you shared.
Mhm.
And the other thing that really I loved and that caught my attention was when you said about you spoke about the collaboration, the partnership, how yeah, that there's other ways, no,
Mhm.
like all this part of social entrepreneurship, because I'm also I love entrepreneurship too. So
Mhm.
yeah, this also like ignited my fire like Susan says, like,
Mhm.
oh wow, that's true, that's
Mhm.
very nice how you explained it. And
Mhm.
it's basically what we are doing right now with the summit. Like we are
Mhm.
all collaborating, sharing knowledge, and like giving from our expertise and
Mhm.
working together and
Mhm.
trying to spread the word, no.
Yeah.
So that came to
Mhm.
my mind. And
Mhm.
no, and I loved all the stories, very interesting
Mhm.
stories. So you're
Mhm.
from Kenya originally?
Yes, originally from Kenya, but I'm mixed Kenyan Dutch, so half
uh,
half.
yeah, Spiker is a very
It is a very Dutch name. It is a very Dutch name. But as you said, partnership's so important. It's one of the SDGs that sometimes gets forgotten. SDG 17, partnerships for the goals, because nobody can do it alone. It's really impossible. And often different stakeholders have certain knowledge or expertise gaps that another stakeholder might have. So you could, of course, sink a lot of resources into building up like the perfect, portfolio of your own resources,
Yes.
skills, expertise. Or you could just like look at your neighbor and be like, hey, you have this thing that I'm missing. I have this thing you're missing. How about we work together and make something greater than the individual parts that we've got separately?
yeah.
Totally agree. For the longest while, I've been in Honduras for the last 25 years, and I was trained trilingually. So I just had this opportunity in Honduras that I think very rarely do we get to work in what we study sometimes. You follow through in a career and then you end up doing something different because you don't have an opportunity. For me, it was the opposite. I literally got to stand on what I had studied, and teaching all three languages at different times within the work industry
Mhm.
created something very particular on my perspective. I didn't realize how my perspective was being shaped between what I had learned and what I was actually seeing in practice and in
Mhm.
use from the different kinds of clients that I had. And that birthed a game. It birthed a bilingual game that can actually be a multilingual tool. And I thought it would be really easy. I could invest in this and we would
Mhm.
get it out to the community. And wow, we could truly, you know, but it was really difficult finding partners. And this for me, I think I would love if you could give us more tips on how to build or work even with sometimes you're in a space where, or is it just time you wait for the right people to show up? Because you can try to work with partners. We were able to get someone to fund us, we were able to demonstrate results even to government, and then despite having amazing results, in a 60-hour 40-day program, we
Mhm.
were still not able to get the support. So for me, timing was
Mhm.
something that really became very daunting in my efforts to
Mhm.
get this sort of social entrepreneurship was what I identified I wanted to serve. I wanted you helped me create the game. I would lend my services because I know how to do it. I want to connect to educators. And
Mhm.
this is how, and educators, they don't need anyone to preach to them. It's just to show them
Mhm.
how to use it. And then you let their own creativity. So I just wanted to facilitate that.
Mhm.
And then have private sector help. How you have this concept of getting it. How do you move beyond that when the partnerships are like, well, what's in it for me? And no matter which doors, is it just a case of timing, or do you just wait it through sometimes? Or what's been your experience been like?
Timing is critical, but I would have to say, there's this old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you see this a
Yeah.
lot as a principle also in change management in organizations. If you're trying to get an idea picked up, even internally in the same organization, you need to find somebody who's your champion, because they're the person who are going to pass on that message. They're the person who's going to convince the people around them. And that happens even within an organization. How much harder is this when you're coming from the outside?
I
During
hear
my
you.
research, one of the things that I came across, and I thought it's really brilliant, was a lot of local governments, municipalities are facing like budget crunches, so they cannot fully invest in certain community initiatives even if they wanted to, so they do have a champion, but then they have this other bigger like structural obstacle, which is there's just no money. And what some of the initiatives, and in collaboration with their champions in local municipalities, came up with is essentially, we don't want money from the municipality. What the municipality has, for example, is just a storehouse of knowledge. It has an expert. So don't invest money in us. Lend us your expert for the weekend, which we would have spent money on. Huh? So instead of
Right.
exchanging, so it's almost like a barter trade
Uh,
of things. So sometimes it's finding this champion, finding a specific niche of a need or something where you can trade in ways that are perhaps unexpected, because
mutually
the
beneficial.
mutually beneficial,
Finding the
because
mutual them.
these direct conversations, which are usually like fund me off and that, these days with budget crunches, they are so hard to push
Yeah.
through. So it's a real struggle for everyone. And these like creative solutions, and you know how people speak of like bottom up initiatives or top down
Yeah.
initiatives. What I discovered was that the most successful ones, I called it bottom linked initiatives. So all of the stuff is coming from the bottom, but the facilitation through certain ways, but not funding, is coming from actual experts in higher positions, these champions of yours in organizations, in local government, in consortia. If you find the right people, it often oils the wheels a little bit.
Thank you.
Very
I think that's
true.
very wise. Yes, I think that's
Mhm,
very wise advice for others who may have been doing things very, very similarly. I would think that in encountering Vienna at this stage of my life, I think that has been one of that building blocks of connection because we've been able to. Um,
mhm,
I remember joking with her and saying, you know, what I've done for other people
mhm,
in championing a cause, I felt like Vienna did for me. When we
mhm,
met at this stage in my career was kind of like a flip in
mhm,
that we were able to discuss ideas. So I guess, it just,
mhm.
your work just told me keep moving forward,
Yeah.
not
Yes.
giving up. That's what
Yeah.
your presentation did for
Winners just
me,
don't give
kind
up.
of. You,
Mhm,
you gave me that just keep going forward, like, because I asked a question
mhm,
last night. I said, Lord, do I leave this here? Are you telling me let it go, or what are you telling me? And your presentation today has been like, "No, just move it forward. It's
mhm.
going in the right direction in the right time."
Of
So
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, we can. I will help you with at least taking it. Maybe we can make it part of the Regenera Travel, because
Mhm,
basically we're doing like community memberships and we're offering also like language, help. In tourism, we need the English.
mhm,
If people want to work, for example, with Bellu Travel, they need to speak English because many of the tourists, so maybe we can get your course for people to learn English because it's really good. I've played her game and it's a really good way. She's brilliant. She has very, so we will see how we develop it. Just it takes time. You just don't have to give up, but I think you're in the right track.
yeah.
And also it's so funny what you were saying because it happened exactly to me. I met with the mayor of Santa Cruz de Ojoa, the area where we were gonna do the event, and I told him about the event, and he was the one that was like, yes, let's do it, you have all my support, and he was helping me. But yeah, there was a problem with the funding because it was a very expensive event, and
Mhm,
sadly there's elections coming in Honduras, so they
mhm,
had to repurpose the funds. And the thing is that the major asked me to design like a regenerative travel development strategy for this area of the Lake Yohoa. That
mhm,
actually someone from the community sent me that this area was designed by the UNESCO as one of the 28 new reserves from the biosphere, the
mhm.
Lake Yohoa in Honduras. So
Oh,
now it's a protected area, and
mhm,
it has a lot of nature. It has like swamps, it has like a lot of microclimates,
mhm,
like jungle, swamps, a lot of birds. One of the places where you see the most biodiversity of birds, and you also see one endemic bird from Honduras, that is the colibri, the emerald colibri, that is only from
mhm,
Honduras. You see
mhm,
it in this area, and it has a lot, and it has actually a lot of companies that are developing a more sustainable tourism. I think it's leading sustainable tourism in Honduras.
mhm,
So I was working on this strategy and I was investigating, and since there's lack of funds, I found this the time bank, working as a
mhm,
time bank. And in this sense, it's like you develop this network, this community, and maybe you don't have the money, but like you say, there's different expertise. So what you exchange is time. So right
mhm,
now I'm working for you. You're not paying me, but
mhm,
I earn, I don't know, 5 hours. So then
mhm,
when I need your expertise, then you will give, you
mhm,
pay me with your expertise, your
mhm,
knowledge, work.
mhm,
And I found it brilliant. And it's exactly what you were saying, what you were
mhm,
explaining. And
mhm,
I was like, oh, this is a solution. It's not like we have to stay, arms crossed. There's solutions.
mhm,
We just have
mhm,
to investigate and see all these options. So the truth, I loved it because it's very
mhm.
eye opening. You inspire us a lot, give us a lot of new ideas, and give us fuel to continue as well with all the projects. No.
Yeah,
Dr.
glad to
Spiker,
hear
do
it.
you work in collaboration with other universities? Are you currently doing anything or?
Yes, but it goes project by project. And yes, I do plenty of collaborations, not just with other universities, but other research bodies, like independent scientific research bodies. Sometimes even, how would you say it? Like small, like organizations, NGOs. I work in all kinds of collaborations because when you're tackling topics like this is indeed one of my areas of expertise, but sustainability is really broad and really wide. And you were even mentioning some things earlier that I work on, like circular economy, biodiversity. These are all things that I'm interested in and which I have some expertise in. But sometimes you need to go to the next level. And you could say, okay, I'm going to go back and do a whole study on this. Or you're like, you know what? I'm just going to find an expert in this. And I was lucky that my university that I did my PhD in, but also the university I did my master's in, which was in the Netherlands, the University of Groningen, they're full of experts, and most of them, if not every single one of them, is very open to collaboration, to doing shared research, to figuring things out together, working together, writing together. And so I've been lucky in that regard. And I would say that there's generally quite a highly collaborative environment here in Belgium, but across Europe and elsewhere as well, because some of these consortium that I've been interacting with, they connect everywhere from South America to Africa to Europe, North America, Australia. So you can find people willing and happy to collaborate everywhere.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree with you.
Um,
I've had the same experience with the European Business Network, especially in the Netherlands, like
Mhm,
Marco Rog and Victoria Tooley, Caitlin. They
mhm,
have been collaborating, so like, yeah, they really like to collaborate, and they connect, like globally, and they push forward the project. It doesn't like look for funding. We don't have the funds yet, but we're gonna look for the funding. We're gonna work
mhm,
together. We're gonna do
mhm,
this. We're gonna start doing things.
mhm,
So yeah, I love that. I think that's also one of the things I like the most from the Netherlands, Belgium, from these Nordic countries, because they
mhm,
really like to move forward and really like to these type of projects that
yeah.
are like making the world better. So I really
Mhm,
love this.
well, what
yeah.
I thought about, V, I was thinking of Zamorano, the Zamorano University. It's a US-based university, but their agro school is here in Honduras. And it's a full program, kind of like what you were describing with what you did in Canada. But it
Mhm,
would be amazing for us to start a conversation with them and find out, what their program looks like because they do everything. I mean, their students literally get up at the crack of dawn and they are early to rise literally, and they have to be at sleep like at 7 or something like that. Is they have very very strict hours because the whole objective is that they know the entire process from farm directly to the consumer table, that it's a
mhm,
very immersive experience, and they're very
mhm,
highly sought after professionals when they're coming out. I mean, they say we're graduating from there, people are just waiting to pick them up. So I
mhm,
think that that's a door to definitely knock on to, even whether or not we get opportunities for Dr. Spiker to visit and do a program or even a
mhm,
talk at
mhm.
the, to
Yeah,
present some of this, because
hopefully.
I truly believe I am a champion for transformational learning. I think
Mhm.
I've gotten tired of, we know there's a time for theory, and I think we're living in a time of action where we can
Correct.
actually move those steps and take those steps forward. So, um, definitely, one of the things that I love about the summit is that it's connecting us with a lot of action-oriented people that have worked the theory, they've seen the elements, they either have a model in process or they're living the model themselves. And now it's like, okay, how do we take this to the greater community? Or who do we invite to the table that can benefit from this? So I think we're going to
Mhm,
be offering them a menu of different things here at the summit, and where we'll be opening up. Vienna can talk about the different membership options that will be available for everyone, but they will have the opportunity. And I think one of the superpowers of the summit is networking. I've been different conferences, and I have always heard people, oh, there's a mixer and we'll connect. And sometimes you go, but you don't always understand how to truly network with people. You have a list of agendas and different speakers, but you don't know how to really have a fruitful networking experience.
Mm.
And I think this summit is truly showcasing different skill sets and individuals like yourself who can truly make decisions based on, wow, I'd like to hear more from this person, or I would like this person to come to my country. I'm from the island of Trinidad and Tobago, and it is a farming island. And lots of the things that are happening, there's a whole generation that's educated, but there's land, and our natural resources have been are like on the verge of depletion, which has been petroleum. So
Mm.
now the island needs to be looking at a whole different way to generate income. And island life, you consider tourism, but tourism was not our number one source of income. So now people
Mm.
are re-examining that board in my country. They are re-looking at it. So to be able to bring your expertise to that part of the world would truly be an honor to share or connect you with colleagues back home that can make a
I'm
difference.
always open, always open. Please,
Thank
please
you.
reach out. I did this research, my PhD, even the work I do now, because like you, I'm passionate about it. Some people, you end up like, yeah, in a path that, yeah, you don't really care about because indeed, maybe that was where the opportunity lay or something like that. I was a stubborn one. And so when I chose this topic, when I was also up at the crack of dawn in like freezing Canadian winter, it was by choice because I really
Mhm.
wanted to understand what things were in practice. As you say, theory is important, and I've got a lot of theories backing up all of my research. But I felt just like you, we need to live in an era of action rather than
Yes.
an era of theorizing. And I think there's sometimes this fundamental idea that researchers or people who work in universities only think about theory, and
Hmm.
some of them do, but there are so many action based researchers who are doing action research, who are doing participatory research, ethnography, whose hands are in the dirt, same as mine were. So when they come up with, with thoughts, they are eager to share them. They are very happy to connect, to collaborate, because an era of action needs people to be
Yes.
out in the streets and not just in your office, like writing, which I also love to do, but there needs to be a balance.
Ah,
Yeah.
very good. Very true. Good one. That's a good one.
You know,
Yes.
every time
Yeah,
I
balance.
we
Yes.
Mhm.
every time we encounter presentation, I can't tell, we talked about the word amazing, and with Vienna, we've been discussing the idea of like we've got to like hold back on our adjectives because
Mhm.
you can't be saying that everything is amazing in all the time. But
Yeah.
honestly and truly, the content and the quality of the presenters that this summit has brought together, everyone shares a particular perspective on how they are living regenerative tourism or living circular economy. For example, as a mom and helping collect things for recycle projects in school, I suppose you do some of it because it's not as ingrained, the whole idea of recycling. But then when I listened to Caitlin Sokol's presentation and when they talked about different things, and then the idea of waste and how it changes, it changes something in you about, was I adding purpose? And you said it in your presentation. You said the power of purpose in these collaborations. It's what switches something from performance to an ingrained practice, a rooted practice, because it is the purposefulness of it. We heard that with Flor Gaona's presentation, where she talked of the case of a community in Ecuador where they realized that their lifestyle was being threatened, and if they did not change, then they would not be able to regenerate themselves. And they asked for help, and then they themselves, she said, they are a premier luxury travel for a fully authentic experience in their community, and they're taking care of their health and they're taking care of their setting. So what I've been seeing, and I think my brain tends to register patterns, is the patterns of practice that we have been seeing throughout the summit. You know, oh, these people are doing this action. Wow, now we're hearing Dr. Spiker's work. Like for some reason or the other, like there's a confluence of purpose in this particular summit on elements of regenerative and separating the superficial or the action idea behind the fun idea behind it to like what does the real work look like? What does the real work? What do hands to the dirt actually
Mhm.
look like? And what is it to author a trip that actually is a neurolinguistically and neuroscientific experience that when you come away from it, you truly feel transformed? I
Mhm.
mean, it really has been an amazing journey thus far, for want of a better term, but it has been educational. It has been inspirational and definitely inviting people to connect with Dr. Spiker because her content was, I mean, I felt like my heart, I was listening to someone speak
Mhm.
She's
from my
passionate
heart.
about, yeah. You
It,
can
it,
feel
it
the
was
passion.
like,
Thank you.
it's there.
Mhm.
The work's been done,
Mhm.
because sometimes in our part of the world, the support is not as available as you want it to be. So you can get tired in the process. But
Mm.
hear your work, it just continues to say that yes, it takes, just move
Mhm.
forward, and we cannot do
Yeah.
it alone. So I
Yeah.
think that's the message of our summit is that we can do it alone, and any of our speakers or organizations that are here are open to people saying hello to them and truly, listen to their talks, go back to the videos, watch them, join our community, and truly there are new business models just waiting to be created. It can be birthed from new collaborations. And I think that is one of the most poignant things that I take away from your presentation today. Very, very grateful for your sharing
Thank
of your
you.
knowledge.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you.
very much.
Yes, thank you so much. And as
Mhm.
Susan was saying, well, Regenera Travel is not
Mhm.
just an event. What we're trying to build is something that we are looking like a community of practice, a networking group, a
Mhm.
network of experts. So that's why we also created this members area with the
Mhm.
different membership plans like community
Mhm.
plan, business plan, corporate plan, because our idea is like you say, the knowledge, the connection with experts like you is invaluable. So that's what we want to help the people. We want to be that a companion, no, and not necessarily just for money. We want to see, like, if you don't have money, reach to us. We will
Mhm.
see how we help you.
Mhm.
We want, if people are willing to, to learn more about how to do business, how to be an entrepreneur, but in this economy, we are in a new economy. So that's what we are doing. We're developing some type of community that is looking forward to a new economy, more responsible, more regenerative.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for being part of it. And I'm sure like you will get some probably some people that want to have some meetings with you. How do you say, some
Yes.
advice, no?
Yeah.
uh, Consulting, sorry,
Yeah.
consulting with
Happy
you.
to help. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
yeah, we will be connecting with Dr. Spiker in case anyone is interested about
Mhm.
consulting,
Mhm.
and looking forward to develop more projects with you and have you hopefully here next year, and so that
Hopefully. Yes.
imagine the live presentation, it will be amazing. I'm so excited.
Yes, it'll be great. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I really appreciate it and for being open to my ideas. And, I'm glad that they resonated with you.
Yes,
Thank
oh,
you.
we
Thank you
are
very,
Okay.
very much.
so
Okay.
much, Nuria.
Okay.
Well, bye bye. See you.